And last but certainly not least, let's talk about still a Michael J. Fox movie.
Sure.
Ricardo, if you don't mind, I want you to do the synopsis for this, right? So this is courtesy of Apple TV. Although I
Mhm.
heard that it had a theatrical run, I think it actually has a theatrical run right now in the States, right?
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's simultaneous with the Apple TV release. I think, right? But yeah, well, I saw the first trailer of it. I was like, okay, we actually getting a documentary about Michael J. Fox, right?
Right.
And I'll confess, right? Just to get this out of the way. This is the preamble section here, right? I'll confess, right? Not the biggest Michael J. Fox fan, right?
Well, yeah.
That
It's the
being said,
exact.
that
It's
being
the
said,
exact opposite for me. Yeah. But
that
yeah.
being
Right.
said, right? What I mean
Yeah.
is, right? Yes, there's family ties, right? I grew up
Yeah.
on
Well,
Family Ties.
that is not
Family
the part I care
Ties,
about. I
yeah,
don't care
Family
about that.
Ties
Yeah.
was a local TV. It used to be on
Yeah.
TV6.
I never care about that show.
Okay, okay, okay. But
Yeah.
I just used to watch it because it's one of those shows, kind of like Fresh Prince, and to extend the Cosby Show, where it was on TV. So it's like, all right, I'll watch it on TV. And it nice, and the team song is nice. Personally, I used to stick around just to hear sit, ubu, sit, good dog, roof. Right. That was it for me, right? Once I get that, that was my fix, right? But yeah, Michael J. Fox was the standout in that show, and I
Yeah.
like how this movie here highlights the fact that yeah, he was just supposed to be a central character, or I should say a side character, but yeah, he literally become the star of the show. He is the one
Right.
memorable thing about that show, that and the Ubu Productions, thing that you see in the end, right? But the moment Back to the Future came out, of
Yeah.
course, I was just like a year old when it came out. But when I saw Back to the Future, that when I was like, all right, that
Mhm.
is who Michael J. Fox is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great, right? And yeah, even when it comes to that trilogy, just talking quickly here, um, great trilogy, I must say. I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest fan of Part Three, but I love the
Yeah.
first one, and
I
I
love the second
really,
one too.
really, really,
Right.
really
The
enjoy the
second one.
second one. I
Yeah. The
love
second one is a lot
its
of fun as
take
well.
on the first film. I love how they work with the idea of time travel. Not original, of course, but just how they play that visually was so clever. I love just how they played around with the idea of the first one, right? And yeah, I mean, the Back to the Future series is what, made me really appreciate Michael J. Fox as an actor, right?
Yeah.
What I mean, like, I'm not the biggest fan of him, right? I have not even checked out his other films, I must say, right? So stuff like Doc Hollywood. I will always
Right.
remember when I was young, like back in the early 90s, and I was just aware of movies just being out in cinema. But of course I was too young to see them. Yeah, I was aware when Doc Hollywood was big back in 91, right? The Hard Way, right? Which the only
Right.
reason I remember that show is because that's where the L Cool J song Mama Say Knock You Out came from. I probably saw it on cable, but I forgot, right? I haven't seen stuff like Casualties of War, you know what I mean? I haven't seen, in other words, I've not seen a lot of his films. I haven't even seen Teen Wolf, believe it or not. I know.
Yeah, but yeah, well, I was about
What?
to get to that. Yeah, I was
Teen
about to get
Wolf?
to that. I like Team Wolf a lot here. Yeah.
Yeah, like I saw the series. I used to watch the series on TV,
Oh
but I
yeah, yeah.
never
I
watched
forgot
the
about that.
original. I never watched the original show, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Right.
yeah, I never saw Bright Lights, Big City. I really, really should
Well, he started.
watch his
Yeah.
filmography. I really should. And this
Right.
film kind of tell me, yeah, Matt, yeah, Matt, you mean you never see Casualties of War? Like, bro, watch
Right.
that shit. Like, you mean you never see Doc Hollywood? Like, watch that movie, yeah? So yes, I feel ashamed in seeing this, but yes, I have not seen a lot of Michael J. Fox movies, and thanks to this film here, I really do need to film it
Right.
to
Yeah.
watch them out for sure,
Yeah.
right? That's what I mean by me not being the biggest fan of it, right? But that's it. So yeah, once I saw the trailer for this movie here, I was excited, right? Because yeah, for me, this was the opportunity for me to learn about who he is and how he became the star that he is, and of course how he dealt and continues to deal with Parkinson's disease. Because I'll never forget, I forget which year where he announced it to the world. I know they said it in the film, right? But yeah, the announcement that he had Parkinson's was a big deal, right? Because I remember around that time, at least as far as celebrities that I knew, the only person I knew who had it at the time was Muhammad Ali. So just
Right.
hear that, oh, Michael J. Fox had it too, okay. And then I remember not sure what event it was. It may be a sporting event, if I'm not mistaken, or it was some presentation, it was, if I'm not mistaken. I remember both Muhammad and Michael going up, and I think they were talking about, Parkinson's and having to deal with that as well. But yeah, it was a big deal that a guy like him somebody so likable as Michael J. Fox, having to deal with Parkinson's. You could literally see it on his face, when he's moving about or when he's behind the mic and talking to people or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big deal. So yeah, with this film here, this was the opportunity for me to really learn more about Michael J. Fox and how he was able to deal with that, but then also to get an idea of his career and how he was able to blow up, at such a young age. Because yeah, he was a superstar in his teens, right? And
Yep.
his career just skyrocketed from there. But yeah, Ricardo, I talked long enough. Take it away. Your well, why you appreciate Michael J. Fox so much, and then you can jump into the film itself.
No, yeah, I'm a reasonably big fan of Michael J. Fox. I was a super talented dude, great charisma, never, as far as I know, not particularly problematic. In any way, I know he had a big drinking problem at one point. Stuff, I'll say a lot of stuff like you kind of already know if you know his life and career, but if you're reasonably ignorant of him, it covers the material reasonably well. Uh, but yeah, I was a big fan. The Back to the Future franchise, the first film in particular, is probably one of my favorite movies ever. It's just such a great adventure. He's great in this.
And I will say
He
it still remains one of the best written films
Yeah,
ever made.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's such
that
a just
script is so
yeah.
well
It's
written.
tight. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then yeah, him and Lloyd together, they're so good together. And yeah, he's a good. I was a big fan of a show called Spin City, right? He was in that.
yeah. I remember that being
I
on TV, but I never got into that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was a really solid sitcom for what it was, and yeah, him being the star, it works. Him coming back to television. Yeah, his movie career kind of floundered, from what I understand, after the Back to the Future franchise. I do enjoy Teen Wolf for what it was. It have just that one scene in Teen Wolf is great. Where he have to change, and then he opens the door, and the dad is a wolf too, and it's like, oh shit, that's a good twist. Um, that's you know, him as an actor and whatnot. And yeah, well, he much like similar another celebrity that's similar to him to me, Christopher Reeve, right? You know them more now for the suffering, right, in a
Yes.
sense.
Mm.
And you know them more for that, and then the awareness that they raise for that, right? You know them for the big star, um, as a star, but now you know them for what they're going through in health. And I really was expecting this to be pretty dour and unfortunate and really like kind of, oh, it's going to be a real hard watch and I'm going to kind of have to slog through it. And that's not what it was at all. I thought this was great. It had a nice amor fati, love of your fate, kind of embracing of the situation and how to keep your head up kind of attitude from Michael. But they have it where he had his dark times, where he had his rough times. Is this disease is no joker. And they make it really, really work out for what it is. But what was brilliant about this is the editing. Absolutely love the editing in this. Like how they set up a thing and then they'll use a clip from one of his old movies and then cut back. And then I'm not sure what he was doing with the shots in his reenactments of where he talking about his past of like when his fingers started going off for the first time and that kind of stuff. But they make it work, and everything just cuts together so well. Even though it's a talking head documentary, it just they frame everything so well together, and how it builds up. Yeah, this was excellent for me. It's probably one of the good not one of the best ever, but it's a while I haven't seen a good documentary like this. Kind of loved it, to be honest. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. I
mm,
thoroughly enjoyed this film, right? More in particular with the editing, though. The editing
yeah,
blew me away, right? Because
yeah,
I seen the reenactments, right? Like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool. All I will say though, they do a great job in terms of not showing you Fox's face, right?
yeah.
It's basically his likeness, when he's young and
It's
when he's a
unclear.
teen and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
but
like they always do this great job in terms of like not showing his face. There's a great moment,
yeah,
right? Sorry to cut you there, where it's him going into a bus, and the camera is just panning up, right? It's just moving
yeah,
upwards, right? And you're thinking you're gonna see Michael's face, but you don't because it just stops at
yeah,
a particular point, and the frame is cutting off the face, or I think something in front of the bus is blocking his face, or whatever it is, right? When I
yeah,
saw that, I was like, all right, that is
yeah.
excellent. I love that. Just simple decisions like that, I mean, I thought that was great. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's just but what I like about it is when they do the editing, or they'll say something and then reference a thing
Yes.
but they'll show a scene in one movie and then another thing. Like in the beginning, that is great shot where it is when Martin McFly goes to the past and he has to open the newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
but they cut another shot in a newspaper of his character reading the newspaper because the whole point was, oh, he is 1955, right?
Yeah.
And no, that is not what they show. They show another clip about his life, and it's like, okay, that's clever what they're doing. Like they're doing
Yes.
this kind of nice, what's it called that by when you cut shit. It's slipping my
I
mind.
know
There's some type
I
of
know what you're talking about, but I forget
yeah,
the term. Yeah.
yeah, but it basically is a film technique of that sort. No? And it's
Mm.
a nice editing technique that they do, and it's very clever and really
Yeah.
well done.
It's
What is
very
this?
Errol Morris in a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
Right,
much
right,
like
right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And but they cut it in a real smart way and cobbled together its own thing. From all these other clips and audio clips and video clips and it's like, oh wait, where is from? And it's like, all right, it's from this movie, but
Yeah.
they're using it in this context and to tell the overarching narrative here. And it's really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but you're right though. Yeah. I was impressed by that. The cutaways to certain shots from his previous films, right? And it always matches a particular moment.
Yeah.
'Cause it's all based off of Michael's narration, right? I'll talk about the narration a bit, right? Yeah, it's all based off what he's seeing, where he is at the certain stage in his career and whatnot, right? So how it's put together was fantastic, right? It reminded me a great deal of a documentary I reviewed early this year. That was Moon Age Daydream, which is about David Bowie, right? But it's
Right.
using all these like different shots and archival footage and whatnot to tell this particular story, right? To tell this narrative, right? Um, so in addition to how it uses movie shots to to tell the story, I was really impressed by the behind the scenes stuff though. Like you see
Yeah.
scenes from like behind the scenes of Family Ties, now. Like
Right.
stuff that I really shouldn't be seeing, which is I think it's like what the executive producers was talking about initially, how he just didn't like Michael J. Fox, and he just didn't think he was a great fit to play Alex, right? But
Right.
yeah, like him, like them using that shot, like I was just watching this, like y'all actually filmed this, y'all actually filmed this guy. I don't know if he had an NBC or whatever it is. Y'all filmed this guy talking about how unsure he was of casting Michael J. Fox in the first place. Like
Right.
y'all filmed that, and somehow it made it into this film, and it totally works, right? I just love how it comes back at the end with a lunchbox. That's all I'll say. That was
Yeah.
funny as hell. I love that, right? Um, but yeah, just see the story being told, from the beginning. Because I didn't even know that he started little, made little brief appearances in shows prior to Family Ties, right? That was really cool as well, right?
Yeah.
Of course, just how they tell the story of the Back to the Future shoot, that was great. I didn't even know this, but I didn't even know that he was filming, Family Ties
At the same time. Yeah.
and Back to the Future at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
though. I
yeah.
was
It's all
like,
pressure. Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow,
kind of,
that really
kind of
happened?
grind it. Yeah, no, yeah, that's serious grind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, factually, a lot of the facts wasn't brand new to me. Like, okay, I
Okay.
kind of know that, and I kind of knew that. And it's like, all right, they shoot almost all of Back to the Future with the other actor, and then they kind of reshoot most of the film with him, and all them kind of little things. Like, it's like, okay, I know all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah,
Yeah, and I love how the show takes you on this journey. You're there. You know what I mean? When Michael J. Fox blows up, right, in 1985. You could say that 1985 was his year, right? Because
was
it was
his yeah,
Family
yeah,
Ties,
yeah, exactly.
Teen Wolf, and Back to the Future. All of them are
Yeah,
hits, right?
yeah,
But you also feel the downfall as well too. I love how it's set up to the idea of people like his own insecurities, right? Him thinking that, oh, you're an actor,
yeah.
and well, at this time now he actually marries his co-star from Family Ties. I didn't even know
Well,
that
it
was his
starts.
co-star actually.
Yeah, no, they start cleverly with the whole showing the old Siskel and Ebert review of Back to the Future and him
Oh,
being
as I
nervous
say
about
that,
that.
as somebody who still seeks out, clips of Siskel and Ebert on YouTube, when I saw the one for Back to the Future, I clapped it. I was like, yes,
Yeah,
yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. But what they do is they contextualize. We got to show it in the thing on the
Right, in
television.
the TV, in the
Right. So
reenactment, which was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it's all these little small little decisions they make. It's very clear because they didn't need to do that, right? but they did, and it's little small things like that I appreciate for the editing and how they frame the story with him being the nervous actor because he was
Mm.
so unsure about it. Now at the time, yeah, Back to the Future was kind of a gamble, if I remember correctly. You
Yeah,
just we get to say in retrospect how amazing it is, blah blah blah. But no, at the time, people was like, yeah, what was this weird time travel thing? What with a car? What?
exactly.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
also point for Gene Siskel saying how he don't like time travel movies.
Yeah, yeah,
But then when
exactly,
he saw
right,
this one, I was like, all right, this is the first one I love. I was like, all right, I like that, I like that.
exactly, right.
Yeah. All right, so that's few things, right? But yeah, I just love how it takes you on this ride, though. But yeah, when you get to the 90s and the downfall after stuff like say Doc Hollywood and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it totally works. You understand how he was able to how he was trying actually to balance being a husband and a father, right? Because he had kids at the time, with being an actor and being this likable actor as well too. How and they touch on something common these days when it comes to Hollywood. Yeah, hiding your addictions, right? So how he was able to hide his alcoholism. I thought
Right.
that was a really great moment. And in particular, like in the mid 90s now with Spin City now, and then of course with him now knowing that he has Parkinson's, yeah, how he was able to how he's trying to hide that, right? Um, Similar to Moonage Daydream, right? This show, I have to applaud the director of this, right? David Guggenheim, right? For you to sit through all this
Footage
footage and
and to
sit
cobble
through, sit
together
through,
and have
and
an
know.
imagination for it.
Right, but in particular with the Parkinson's stuff, no, okay, in this shot, if you look at it, you see him twitch a little bit. You see him kind of take
Right.
a while to
Well,
respond.
I'd
For him to
imagine.
pick up on those things and put that in the film, I'm like,
Well,
wow,
no. Well, I'd
wow,
imagine. I'd
how?
imagine. No, I'd imagine Michael himself would have like consult him on that. Like,
All right,
I
yeah,
don't know.
good point.
Yeah.
Duh, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't think. Yeah, I
duh.
don't think he would have be like know where to take. But like Michael say, oh no, yeah, I was going through something with this. I know. I remember. Blah blah blah.
All
That's
right,
how it was. But
okay,
yeah, no,
I did think of that.
that was interesting to watch because it's like, oh, that recontextualized a lot of these. God, it's like I remember that scene though, and it's like I always thought Michael J. Fox was kind of weird and I'm kind of gonna say an offensive term here, spazzy, right? 'Cause I always thought he was like that, but so I always thought that was part of his acting style now.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, no
it's
shit, that was the
easy to
Parkinson's
assume that
shit. Oh
actually. It's
shit,
easy.
that real dread though.
Yeah, it's easy
Like,
to assume that.
it was really starting to hit him now. And this is well, I don't know if you know, but this kind of hit a little close to home with us because there's a local filmmaker who has Parkinson's. Um, and I remember him as like, oh yeah, he couldn't do this, so he couldn't do an exam because he had a issue.
Right.
And that's kind of stuff now. It's like, wow, you're going through all of this, and he's still trying to do a degree, he's still trying to do this, that, or the other.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why I was thinking about it with that now. But yeah, it's stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Right.
it's excellent stuff.
Speaking of hitting close to home though, I will say the posts like how Michael was able to deal with the Parkinson stuff, really hit me personally, right?
Yeah,
With my dad, for example, he had a stroke last year, and it just sort of took me back, especially like there's a shot of him doing physiotherapy, right, with his trainer, right? I assume it's I assume he's just a trainer, not a bodyguard. 'Cause I know that there's a moment early on where you saw him leaving his house with the
yeah,
bodyguard, and he was trying to like get him to move properly and all that kind of stuff. Well, get him to
yeah,
move at all, right? But yeah, having to live with that, having to deal with that, having that family dynamic to help him through, yeah, that really hit me, boy. But just to touch on the family, boy, just the moments with him and his family is so endearing, Jed, because like like again, I don't really know much about the life of Michael J. Fox, right? But just knowing that his wife stuck with him, right,
yeah, yeah.
throughout
I mean,
all the stuff,
yeah, yeah,
and he was, I think he has 4 kids now, right? And they
right.
all stood by him, boy. That's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
most endearing things I've seen like in a long while,
But
but
that's
like
what they make it.
wow.
That's what they make it work. Is that it really was ultimately a positive movie.
Yes.
Like I really thought, wait, boy, it's gonna be a real hard watch to see Michael J. Fox in this situation. And it had moments that was like, yeah, genuinely hard. Like this is the last shot where he was on the a beach chair,
Oh,
and
yes, yes,
that
yes.
that was rough to watch. And then he talk
Yeah.
about him falling and thing, but he's like, yeah, Michael, he just handled it real good now. Because like even Muhammad Ali in his later days was really looking and sounding bad now.
Mm.
Michael J. Fox just make it work. And again, similar to Christopher Reeve, he handled it well. Really understand. Let's say, look, again, it have a term for this. Amor fati, right? Nice little Latin term, right? Meaning
Right.
love your feet. And it's how to you have to embrace. Sometimes it has some things that look, it's a bad beat. You just have to embrace it and work with it and do let it kill you. You know, you could have some
Yeah,
people who they delve into complete depression, and it makes conceptual sense given that Michael J. Fox also had an alcoholic problem, right? Which again, kind of close to home. And I was like, okay, they're making it work for what it was. Right? Is really really well done. That is why
yeah,
it works. The tone and scope of it and how they frame Michael's perspective about the whole thing and
yes,
how, in retrospect, it really, really works. That's why I really appreciated this documentary for what it was
agreed.
trying to
Yeah.
do and see. Yeah, go ahead.
And last but not least, I mean, I have to talk about Michael J. Fox, man. He is just
Yes,
so compelling and charming.
yes,
Even with
and
what
it's
he's going
funny.
through right now, and funny, right? And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is what I
yeah.
love about the show here, right? Can they say, like his comedic timing, right? I mean, that was always one of his biggest strengths, in his career, right? Just knowing when to come in with a joke, just knowing how to respond at a certain time. I also love how early on in his life you can kind of understand why he is that way, right? But yeah, just knowing that he is genuinely a funny person, right? So even with
Correct.
all the stuff that he goes through, there's actually um a gut punch of a moment near the end now where he actually like finally reveals to the director who's like watching all this like, yes, I'm in pain, like I'm in pain right now.
Right.
If
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah,
watching the
yeah.
show and you wouldn't even think about it, you think it's just more when he's moving about, that's where the pain comes in. But no, when he's sitting down and talking, yeah, he's in pain as well too, right? But
Yeah.
still having this optimistic viewpoint of his life and whatnot, and just being able to laugh through it, not kind of make fun of himself at his own expense, but just sort of see the good in it all, right? And that is so endearing, right? Um, I should mention the narration as well too, because like when he's talking, right? Yes, he does stumble a bit when he's talking, right? But there's moments of narration where at times I was wondering if it was somebody else who was talking for him. It's like,
Okay.
no, it's actually him, and I love that how it's shown, how it's displayed,
Right,
where
right.
it's basically him talking with the psychiatrist, and he's reading from this book, right? At first, I thought it was some audiobook that he was recording. I don't know if there's an audiobook for that book that he has, the memoir. I should really look up the name of it. I don't know
Okay.
if one exists. I should look it up. If an audiobook version of it exists, I don't think so. Maybe, I don't
Okay.
know. I guess I'll see. But yeah, him reading lines and whatnot from that book. I was looking at that. I was saying, okay, that's where the narration parts come into play, right? Where he's off screen talking, right? I was like, all right, I like that. That's really really clever, right? But yeah, as a whole though, it is so it's really an inspirational film, I must say though. It's like I would say like if I had that, I probably would have given up on life. I just
You know.
wouldn't care about anything or anybody. But I guess it's just because he just has a knack for comedy, boy. That really keeps him going. But
No, I
also
mean we
because
we
of that
seen him
family
we
that,
seen him years later. I
of
mean,
course,
we
of
seen
course,
him,
yeah,
right. So he pass through. I can imagine he passed through the ringer with this kind of stuff. The stuff we
yeah,
didn't see, right? But
yeah,
I think what I liked about it is that him just doing the documentary and the fact that yeah, he has some age now, and he probably he very correctly, probably don't have much time left now. In that
that's
sense,
right,
right?
yeah,
I don't want to make a dark kind of statement here, but like if he does pass between this and say the Oscars, right, they're probably gonna win the Oscar, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, I want to say that kind of thing, but I want to say it at the
no,
same time, right? But yeah, no, it's stuff like that, right? It really, really works
yes,
as a just a exercise of his life and just a very very just self-reflective. Like that's why it works.
right,
It's
exactly,
very humanistic. He brings it back down. It's very sobering, but not dour. And that is why
no.
the editing and the cutting together and as it is. So yeah, that's my last point and then written. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, sure, sure. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with you, man. And also the family that he has, just so supportive, boy. Like,
yeah,
wow, I wish I had I'm not saying if something like that should happen to me, like if something like that happens to me physically, I do hope that I have some sort of family unit of some sort to help me out through that, and vice
yeah.
versa, right? But yeah, man. Hands down, this is one of the best films I've seen this year. It's one of the most optimistic films I've seen in quite a while, though. And I would say, as far as documentary goes, yeah, it's one of the best I've seen in a long while, though. That's just mainly of the editing and the subject matter as well, too, right? How
Yes.
endearing the
Yeah.
subject matter it is, right? So, rated wise, for me, I'm gonna give this a light 4.5 out of 5, man. I absolutely, absolutely enjoy this, man. And I would say, even if you're not a fan of Michael J. Fox, or even if you haven't seen all of his films like I did, really, really check this one out. You'll learn a lot more about this guy and yeah, why he still matters, man, right? And yeah, I would say that in itself, kind of inspired me to check out his other films, right? So yes, I
Yeah.
will check out Casualties of War and Doc Hollywood and
Oh no, yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
That's
I'll
solid.
check them out. I'll check them out.
Yeah, they didn't like I'll say after Back to the Future, they didn't he didn't have big hits, and that was a
Yeah,
thing that was affecting him at the time. But no,
yeah,
yes, I thought he had some. Like I like Doc Holiday for what it was. It's a
yeah.
solid movie. I
Doc
like
Hollywood,
Casualty
Doc
too.
Hollywood, yeah.
Doc Hollywood, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, same
I
yeah,
should
yeah.
mention too. I did see the Frighteners. I did see it, but that was
Okay, right,
because
okay,
Peter Jackson directed. I like the film, but I haven't seen it in a long while, right? But yeah, I really do
yeah,
need to catch up on my Michael J. Fox, viewing, right? But yeah,
yeah,
whether you're a fan or not, though, this is still a great film, true and true. And yeah, by all means, I recommend that you check it out, man. So yeah, Ricardo,
right.
your last thought to rate it.
Yeah, rating on like I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this as a documentary. It again just how personal and raw it was, but not not visceral. It could be raw but not visceral. You gain it. He hit in here. What going on here? Right? Parkinson's is something to not fuck around with, but you know it is very like this is how you should handle these kind of situations. How to manage the emotions of the matter. You're gonna have your dark times. You're gonna be rough, but he makes it work, and the documentary really frames him in a really excellent light, and they make it work for what it is. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I absolutely love this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got the name wrong earlier on. Is Davis Guggenheim, right?
Okay, right.
Which is a name I've always seen before pop up in shows and whatnot, but like I never really like Well, I would say like as far as documentaries, well, I know the last one. Well, I know one of the most famous ones he did was An Inconvenient Truth, right? But that for me is just one of those product of its time kind of shows in a sense. That's for
Right.
me. But yeah, yeah. I mean, he did a fantastic job with this film here, man. So yeah, again, we both love this film and we both highly recommend it, man. Yeah.